Hi, welcome to the In Retrospect KE podcast, where marriage meets knowledge. Welcome again to this last part of this conversation. The conversation has been so good. We couldn't have had this in just one installment, so we decided to break it apart, and so that we can give you all the juice that could possibly be given out of this. So there's this time. Oh, welcome. Welcome to the In Retrospect KE podcast, where marriage meets knowledge. My name is Beverly Chogo, and I have my guest here,
Lorraine Bundi.
And there's this time Lorraine was speaking at a ladies' meeting. And at that time, I think we were doing a sermon series on marriage and family and all of that. And the bishop, we go to Mamlaka, she's a pastor at Mamlaka. And the bishop was telling about this concept of helper. And he said, helper means, I don't know, ezer,
Kenegdo. Yeah. Something like that. We don't speak Greek or Hebrew, whichever that one is.
So the pastor is going to tell us what that means and what God meant when he says that. Did God really mean this neck issue? And she lightly touched on that. And we're going to talk about, if you're a wife, have you ever experienced that sometimes you might suggest something genuinely, as in you have a PowerPoint, 20 points, but your help is rejected. And you're like, but to be honest, see pride, si kujiona najua, but honestly this idea is really good, but your husband rejects it. I don't know if you've ever asked yourself what could be the reason behind it, or you've even had a conversation with your husband about it. So Lorraine was telling us, who are in that meeting, why our help is rejected sometime. And that's what I want us to talk about, as to why our help is usually rejected.
Yeah.
So let's start with, what does helper mean?
Yeah. So the word used for women in the scriptures in the beginning, after the woman was created, and God said that she would be a suitable helpmate for the husband. That word used there has been used. I'm told, I haven't studied Hebrew or Greek. In the Old Testament, was used 20 times, 19 times referencing God, and this one time referencing the woman. To mean that the woman was, in a sense, given the I don't know whether the word is power or the ability to avail the kind of help that God can avail for humans. That kind of level. And so it's possible for us to, maybe by the help of the Spirit of God, who is also our helper, provide the same thing for our husband. So this is the meaning of helper. That word, that heavy word used there, that is used in reference to God, is the one that was given to the woman to be that for her husband, to avail help for her husband. And for those of us who are married, you know that a lot of times, even you're just doing your own things and then you see him putting a sufuria or doing, and then you say, usifanye hivyo hiyo ita, it's like you're permanently helping him. You see him rummaging through the drawer and you ask, what are you looking for? The green socks? They're not there. Look, it's like your eye is always around him, helping him figure things out, And I think it's kind of natural to women. I think, I don't know, maybe there will be some of our viewers who will comment there and say, Mimi, help is not natural to me. But the way I think women really avail that kind of help to men. So yes, that is the meaning of help. So do you want me to go right into why our help?
Before you get into that, I think usually our culture has interpreted help as weakness, as a position of weakness or lacking power. But what you've said right now about then the same word being used to reference God, then if it's the same word and if that's what God intended, then if we think that's a position of weakness, then we are saying that the Holy Spirit is weaker than the...
But you know why we think it's a position of weakness? Is because, what do we call ladies who work in our homes?
Household.
Yes. So, and because women traditionally did those jobs, as we talked about earlier in this episode, because women traditionally did those jobs, menial jobs, not for educated people jobs, then when we think of helper, we think of that person, and we don't want to be associated with that.
But if
it's really the problem of the traditional understanding of helper. That's why we need to offload that burden and try to put in our minds a new understanding of the word help. Because if you think of help as helping your child to do a certain thing, or to there are ways when you think of help, it fills your heart with warmth.
Yeah.
As opposed to other things. And so you look at, maybe you see someone trying to cross the road, maybe they're blind, maybe they're something, and then you see someone going on. In fact, there was a woman, I think at Safaricom a couple of years back. There's a gentleman who walked in, he had disability, and she went down to her knees and helped him to figure whatever it was. You know those Safaricom shops where people come with many issues?
Yeah.
That thing was all over the news. And I think she must have been given a promotion for making Safaricom look so big,
yeah,
you know, and so nice.
So customer-centric.
So customer-centric.
Yeah.
And even you think to yourself and you think, I wish it was me who was caught doing that. It just looks nice and warm and Christian and all of that.
Yeah.
So there are ways in which when you think of help, you think, yes, I want to be that. But there are ways in which when you think of help, and especially as a wife, because necessarily you think of chores and those house things that don't allow you to, repetitive, dirty even jobs, collecting dirty things, food, people have left in food, in plates, all of that. You think of that and you think, I don't want to be helper. So that's what we are rejecting. We're not necessarily rejecting helper as God means it. We're rejecting helper as culture or traditional culture means it.
Or even how God defines it as help.
Yes.
Before even, I'm going to go off the tangent,
Okay.
but right now you've just said, but have you ever noticed how when helps go on holiday, how your life is like? So then, it's not that these people's work is not important. It really is.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
some house managers have held their houses together, you know, such that when they're not there,
they're holding you together as the woman
Yes.
of the house.
And so I don't know where the dissociation or with the word help came in, but just have that thought. If we are thinking of help as the house help, think about how they help you in your home and run your home efficiently. So then that changes our relationship with the word help. Now, with that idea of what help is, tell us, Lorraine, why is our help oftentimes rejected? Well, not oftentimes, sometimes.
Yeah.
Oftentimes is
Actually,
bad.
before I get to that, let me say something, because you said that about how they help us to put our lives together, and I thought of something. I think sometimes being godly looks weak. A pastor friend of mine usually says, what must have been going through the devil's mind when he looked at God and determined, I think I can usurp this guy. You know, as we know God to be powerful, all omnipotent, all of that. What was it about him that made him look weak enough for a created being to think, I can take this throne? And his thought is, love and kindness and those things, they look weak. To the point where someone, in fact, weaker than you can look at you and think, you are weak. I can take you out. And maybe this is our struggle as women. The gift given to us, which is very godly in nature, the same word used for the Spirit of God is used for us, but it makes us feel weak. Because it's the softness, it's the care, it's the nurture, it's the cooking for your husband, even if he's amekukasirisha to the moon and back. But in your heart you think, but this guy doesn't know how to cook. And if I don't cook for him, he's going to struggle tonight. So let me just do it. The fact that your heart is that way, you feel like it's weak and you hate it. You want to be the other thing. So I do think love and godliness and Christ-likeness looks weak.
Yeah.
And so we don't want it.
Yeah.
But I think we need to embrace that.
Yeah.
That gentleness of, you know how Christ is called the lion and the lamb?
Yeah.
That part of the lamb may be given to women as a gift. We should accept it. and sit comfortably in it because it is a gift, not reject it because it makes us look weak. I think
It's like what it normally said, like if you biblical femininity, because cultural femininity is boss babe, it's and then this other one is it's shunned upon. So I like what you've said, that godliness looks
Do you know
weak.
even godly men look weak?
They do.
Yeah.
They
As
do.
opposed to men in the world who look like they can, tear you apart at any given point in time. They're like this. They take on things. A godly man looks like it cannot bite, has teeth but cannot bite, and it is God who has kept them that way. And now you want to go for an unbeliever because they look like more of a man's man.
See, that's why people like bad boys. That's why we have a thing.
Bad boys, friends, bad boys.
They will not be the ones to be submitting to God's heart when you're praying.
They won't.
Yeah.
So that weakness, the one that looked like God had enough for the devil to think he can take him on, let's embrace it.
Lorraine, that's a whole podcast.
Right, but let's go back to
why is our health rejected?
Sometimes so. What Beverly is referring to is that before I was addressing that session, I spoke to some men, and I asked them, just tell me, because I want to go and share with women, why is it that sometimes honestly we give help and you just won't take it? And they gave me 3 reasons. One is they said, so these men, most of them were married. Actually, only one at that time was not married. They said one of the reasons they reject our help is because sometimes women brag. For example, so you're married and your wife goes on, she's speaking to some investor somewhere, she's in some whatever session paid by her company somewhere, and she meets these people who are selling maybe land or homes or this or the other, and it's a pretty good deal. Maybe they get that deal because they are a part of the company or something like that. And so they bring the idea home, and of course it's a good idea, so you take it up. And then the next thing you know, every gathering, when people come and ask, how did you guys come by this deal? How did you come by this land? How did you come by? She begins the story at, let me tell you guys. So me, I was out with everywhere, and I came by this idea, and if I had not convinced him, imagine atungekuwa hapa. We would have still been living in wherever, in a 2-bedroom house, this and the other. But imagine, and we thank God for it. But what is left in the people's minds is how the woman is moving the family forward. While that's not a bad thing, the man feels like he was the docile person seated, waiting to be guided by his wife.
And so, culturally, this is a man thing. He should be the one who is doing those things. Yeah.
And so, because of the bragging that women can do, they already at the beginning determined to refuse our help, so that in future we do not get the chance to do that, to, in a sense, expose, if I may call it that, how quick they were not. Because men are not very quick at taking even things that, because men are I think men are more serious thinkers. Even especially when an opportunity looks good, they will ignore it first. Let's see 3 months later. Let's see. And then finally when maybe it's a good deal, then they go for it. The woman can be more of a risk taker. She goes for it. It works. And she will always talk about how he was lagging behind. He was refusing. So that's one of the reasons they gave. The other reason they gave was the issue of manipulation. Said the scriptures will tell us a wise woman builds her own home, and a foolish one tears it with her own hands. And they said, women sometimes think that they can get to us with a soft voice, or after sex, or after they've given us very good food. And we can see that they are just manipulatively trying to get their way to get what they want. Instead of just putting, they say, men declare that they are very simple. I don't know whether they are. I don't know. That can be another podcast. But they say, just say what you want. But if you're doing like this, you're, doing rounds and rounds, and they get to a point and they wonder, why are you manipulating me? And then it is possible for you to create that reputation in your own home as a person who is manipulative, who finds a way maybe for her family, but not for his family. When his family needs something, you are always, we don't have enough money for that. We can't build mommy this or the other. We can't buy that tank for the home. We can't this and the other. But when it's your people, you find a way of saying, actually, I needed the car so that I can do 1, 2, 3 things. And then in the process, he finds out you were taking it so that you would go buy and take. So it's like you build a reputation of manipulation or sidestepping, just doing things that are not in the light. If you do, you are tearing your own home with your own hands. But if you wisely just are open, genuine, just telling, they said, you just say what you want. You are a human being. I love you. I married you because I wanted to be with you. I know your family. I know the needs in your family. I know your needs, educational, work, money, everything. And so you just say what you want. And in the process, you build a reputation of a trustworthy person in your own home. So they said, we men, they said, we don't really fight it. But it's not because we haven't seen the manipulation. We'll do what you want us to do. And you will think, I didn't see through. But I did. And at some point, I think of you as a manipulative and trustworthy person. You build a reputation at home. So then, when you come and offer that help, first I feel, should I trust her? Because she already has a reputation in my mind as manipulative. What if she's offering me this because she will get something else out of it, which she's not saying on top of the table? So that is another reason they reject our help. And the third thing they said was just, honestly, we just have ego. I just want to be the one who said it.
To have the final.
Yeah. And they said, honestly, that's not your problem. You don't need to deal with that. All you can do is pray for us. Just pray for the pride to reduce. Pray for it to reduce so that the ego stops fighting the help given to me, so that I can just be quick to accept it because it's actually good. I can see. Let me tell you. They said, when I'm fighting, it's not because I can't see. I can see it's good.
Yeah.
But it will come from me. 6 months from now, I will restate it in my own words.
That is true. That is true. I think it's called mansplaining. Like I say the same thing, and then you say it in more words, so that it can make
it's yours.
Yeah.
And that's what they said. Honestly, it's not your fault. You pray for us.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Great. Lorraine, is there anything you'd want to say as we wind up about submission, about us as women? Any question that you thought I should have asked you and have not asked you, or anything that we should have just spoken about and we've not spoken about?
I don't think that there is anything. But what I want to say is that really and truly marriage is a good thing. If you marry someone who is a godly person as you are, and I don't mean the umbrella God-fearing person, church-going person. I don't mean that. I mean someone who is truly following after Christ, someone who is concerned about what God says so that he might obey it.
Yeah.
And not doing it while you, not requiring that while you yourself are not doing it. Because you're the one who will bring problems in that marriage.
Yeah.
So I just want to, I guess this is just a reiteration of that as saying marriage is a beautiful thing. And if you are in a good marriage, you will say, honestly, it's better to be married than to be single if you have the opportunity.
It is.
It is. But it is only beautiful if you make the decisions the right way in the beginning.
Yeah.
So don't get caught up in desperation. Don't get caught up in loneliness. Don't get caught up in all of that.
Yeah.
You shield your heart until you're able to make the right decisions, the right way with the right person, godly person, not just God-fearing and church-going, truly godly, and you'll be godly and you won't believe what a beautiful marriage you will have.
That's such a good way, wonderful way of closing it up. It's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much. I really hope that this conversation of submission has changed your mind about this topic. It has helped you see that when you struggle to submit, the actual submission is really not the issue. It's really not the issue. In order for you to be able to submit, there's actually much more work that needs to be done in the background when it comes to selecting your partner, building the friendship, building the trust. And I hope that you are able now to put these things into practice. Do not be the wife who tears down her own home with your very own hands. Do not manipulate your husband. They can see right through us. Do not be the one who wants to take up the pride and the ego of, where we are, ni kwa sababu nimebeba hii familia on my back. Do not be that woman. And so my plea to you is, please consider these things. Please share with a friend who you think will find this useful. And follow us on Instagram at InRetrospectKE, and see you on the next episode. Bye.